Hey y'all, it's me, Tasha C, and tonight I'll be doing SWV Reunited Season 1 Episode Trio. Uh, yeah, 3. Anyway, y'all, um, where tonight was basically a lot of, you know, build up and tensions and woosah and then impossible tension that might be stirring we see in the next episode to come to be about. Anyways, um, we're starting. What was it? Like I said, the damn phone never started something. No, I'm taking damn notes. Anyway, y'all. Um, we're starting. One of the main points was the SWV. Since now they officially signed with Jeff. He has already set up where they got an interview to set up with Ebony. They got this upcoming show with a lot of artists. This, we got everybody from Errol, Nas, which I mean, my God, she always. I'm not gonna say always got me in trouble looking at him, because he's always been visual distraction, because he's a little bit older than me when he came out. But I mean, he's still fine as wine. Okay, anyway, nice. Anyway, but on top of that, then we have 2 Chainz, real nigga lurk, real nigga lurk. He said. So, anyways, and I forgot who else. Rich Montana, and I forgot the others, but it was a couple people in there. I'm not trying to remember, but that's who they supposed to be doing the show with, and a lot of artists. I forgot where the place they said that. They're like I said, they're still in New York, and they're supposed to be also doing an interview with an interview possibly they Sony may want to sign them. So Jeff has all this stuff already lined up. That's how bad he is. Okay, he's about as bad as all the samurai swords in his office. I think it's swords. So they go to do this interview with I forgot what the lady's name was at Albany, and she's asking certain questions like, how has time changed since the time, I guess, when they first came out to now, right? And then all of a sudden, of course, Lily saying like, how maturity and time has grown, all to go around, around the table, and then out of nowhere to bring something else. I don't know, I forgot exactly how it came to this, but Coco, which was pretty sad to find out, she's a mother of 2 kids, and her first child, which is Sunshine, also known as, I forgot who that dude name was, Digital Planet's, is his father, Jazz. He's 17, like I said, and has not seen him in the last few months. He has not spoken to her and has seen her. They fell out, and it's almost like he's missing. And then she says he has a court date, so we don't know. Say like what's the thing for? So hopefully Lord War willing that situation be okay, and he will get in contact with her. And but it's a sad because she's like, oh my gosh, she don't know where what her children are, and then Ty is just sitting there again like the really? Really, Coco type of look like, really? Because it turns out Ty again, here's Coco again, because they said at the beginning about the trust issue, and Coco, for whatever reason, has this, has built this great big wall of China during there with them and certain other folks that you're kind of like, okay, and then you got a mix of some other stuff like a bad combination of gumbo that went wrong, and then she has this diva, somewhat attitude as well. I mean, just keeping it real, not to put down, but I mean, she has a little bit, diva-ishness. Yeah, I just made that word up, but yeah. So Ty is basically like, why you didn't tell me this? I'm Jazz's godmother, and you mean to tell me you can't tell me this? And it turns out Jazz has been communicating with Ty on Facebook, so she didn't know, like, I don't know how recent it was, but I guess it wasn't too far along. She didn't know all the stuff was going on. Again, here's this thing with big bad wild China and the elephant sitting on top of somebody's shoulders, okay, bouncing like hell. The big elephant room was about this trust issues, okay? So again, it just, after a little bit of that, I think that the writer journalist was saying about, I understand talking about the things, just kind of like, she was just trying to balance the situation, like, because I'm a mother of 2 children and blah blah, and just y'all just have to communicate. I think I forgot exactly what it said because it stood out there, but it kind of went on where after that, which Ty was saying with that stuff, we again know like, oh, there's a major problem again. It's the same one we've seen since the first episode with the same issue. So when they get out the meeting, um, it turns out, yeah, because Coco said this, I forgot. The journalist asked about certain stuff with the albums, and Coco admitted that she's working with another gospel act because she's raised in church. And Ty and Lily is kind of like, they brought up in confession, I think in the confessionals, and then when we talked outside of the building, outside the building once they finished their interview, because they're first thinking again like, okay, here go Coco with the solo stuff, and on top of that, the audience that they have. It's like that's because Lily's like that's confused out. We're R&B and you on gospel and stuff like that. That's kind of like that's leaving us out. Again and pushing us, out of the thing. Like you trying to make your own career. You want me to say your group, and then she's claiming they feel like this. Here she's claiming that she can do it all, and know that she's only going to really focus on one thing, and won't have time to be saying that she's part of a group and she's trying to do her own solo stuff. Let alone it's also gospel, and they're talking about R&B stuff, and she doesn't want to do certain songs anymore that has to do with downtown, which was one of the other hits, or anything that's to do with oil states or certain sensual songs that they used to be known for. And so, she, Ty, Lily Gabriel just let them know how they feel about the situation, about her, putting herself before the group, in terms of this music thing. So Coco is just walking off, I'm sick and tired of this, blase, blase, and they're just like, wait a minute now. Now we got a meeting. They still, after that meeting, they still got to turn around and do the meeting with Sony. And they just Ty's like, we got a meeting with Sony or something like that. And she's because go here like, y'all can do it yourselves. So fast forward, they go to the meeting. Jeff is there. You got the man with the glasses looking serious in the back, like this, and everybody's there except Coco. Coco, I don't know how many minutes that she was there, but was late, but she was supposed to be there with the other two members of the group. So I don't know if they offering them a deal, not yet, but they really want to work with them because they felt like here they put out good work and it didn't get the promotion and the sales it was supposed to deserve, and also despite the fact they had, the Grammy nod. And it had only sold like 60,000 units, and the dude Marcus turned out to be the owner of that last station of the record. Anyways, y'all. So what I'm saying is this here. So after the meeting, Jeff even asked as soon as they got out there, like, okay, Coco, why are you so late? She was just like, okay, I was just late. One of them type of like things. Ty, I think, or was professionals like, dang, you got an attitude problem with the manager already. You don't want to be late. She was like, had like this and whatever type of response to it. Okay, she was like, okay, I got here. That hesitant stuff. So she meets with Corey to talk with him. He's more calmed down. And she is basically talking to him about, terms like, he's the motive, but obviously he didn't leave. But she says, we need to talk and stuff between me and you, that we have problems, and she just wants to smooth things over and wants to be able to, he's still on one, basically down with being their role manager. And he just, of course, again is bringing about how the problem he has done all he can for them and got Granny Nine, stuff like that. But Coco was like this, and professionals like, I know he done all he can, but he done all he can, and all he can't get us any more where we need to be, type of thing. And so he feels like this. Like I said again, I think this second time he brought up about them having problems, which is true, they have problems. But like I said, Lee Coco, because he's like, Corey said something to Coco about, I have your back or something like that or whatever. And here she's like, you're the same reason why everybody always has my back or whatever. Because I'm Coco, I'm the lead singer and something like else she said. But it turns they kind of did in the meeting where he's like, she just asked me, please, hopefully so you can meet Jeff for yourself and see how the way this thing flows, carries out, right? So what's another big thing that's going on? Now, Jeff, here was an interesting part of the whole show was they have, this is kind of was interesting but neat though, they had new musician therapist, and Jeff decides to make up a meeting with this therapist. I think her name was, they just said Terry Rose, and I think that was the lady's name, and they meet to talk out their problems, so they can woo-saw and get this out of the way, breathe 3 times in and out and open up your third eye. That's what we were trying to work on. So it turns out that Coco's problem, unfortunately, is like some people in a lot of cases, sorry about that, is that we carry over so much to our childhood that it affects all of the relationships and all the positive people and sometimes all overall positive outcomes in life to a certain extent. And even if it's positive, we kind of like, we sometimes hinder ourselves. And that's kind of like in her case, it turned out she's been having a problem. Lily feels like she's in the middle of this. I can't stand this. I'm sick and tired of this. And I think the confessional, she was saying something like, this could have been avoided if we just would have talked it out, or it would have changed her life. Because once they broke up, Lily seemed to be the worst off because, she was home, she ended up, being down less than $200. She felt like ending it. She was homeless and everything else, as a result for a while, as a result of once SWV had broke up. And Coco turns out saying, admitted that she's been actually, there's been animosity, whatever, or some distance. Like I said, here she keeps down distrust. I don't trust. I don't tell everything. I don't tell everything. That's the story of your life, Coco. We know you don't tell everything. So she just keeps stuff quiet to herself or whatever. But it turns out that she feels like she didn't say it was, but both her parents have. She said it was something like really there for her and stuff like that. And her father, of course, does. I pop out when you get famous, type of situation. So she kind of, it seems like she was drawn from other people. And then also this too, the old manager they had, I think they said this in the first episode, y'all, put a comment below below. I'm right, I don't know. We help out each other. That the manager was basically putting stuff in Coco's head. It seemed like it was almost trying to split them up in the first place anyway. And eventually make Coco go solo, because they feel like, she's the lead singer. And so they were trying to make her go solo and start stuff anyway. Because she said, supposedly, Ty was telling stuff to the old manager. Ty was like, well, what was, I think the therapist, because Ty just said, like, what the heck is she talking about type of look? And the therapist is like, okay, well, was it Pacific stuff? And she admitted no. And then she was talking about the time admitted that thing, Coco, I don't know, she didn't really go into details, but she had some minor surgery and they said she couldn't have kids. But she wasn't specific say it was before or after she had her last child. And Ty was saying it was one point in time, she always tried to have her back despite, and she was like, she just didn't even know what was going on. Like a lot of stuff she didn't know what was going on because, like I said, Coco likes to keep to herself and don't like to say to a lot of things to people, even people you would think that she would be close to, but she has this shield and has baggage and has a shield. So you got Ty was, Ty was like, there was a time being like, all she remembers Coco was just such evil, just such a bitch. That's her own quote word. She was just such a nasty bitch or something. I just know it was something along the lines. And after that, they were just getting out their issues like, here's this shield, here's this, why are you like this, blah, blah, blah. But, they were able to hug it out, and even Ty said at the end, so, crying, the therapist like, this good, that this works out, blah, 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 that we're able, because, you have to let this out, whatever. You can't move on until the issues are fixed, So, Ty and Coco did hug it out, and so forth, and so they're okay. And in between, before I think they had the concert, Ty talks to her husband Eddie, and Eddie couldn't make it to the show, but because I think he has a meeting, and we found out probably what this meeting was towards the last scene, and he ends up saying he's gonna be there, for he can't make it there, but he will. They will have a lovely night later on her birthday. So I don't know if the performance was the same night as her birthday or not, or whatever, but it could have been the next day. I think it was the next day because she was saying it was the last day in New York. So they had a performance. They did good. It was their first time performing. And Jeff and the crowd, was very, was like this. Throw your hands in the air. And everybody threw their hands in the air. So that was good response. They still got it. So in terms of everybody confessionals was at least saying for now that everything was cool. They felt the therapy session. I think, they should go more than once personally, but that's just me because that is just going to weigh instantly one thing. But, everybody is kumbaya, which is good at the moment. Everybody feels happy. They feel like, now they can move on. And now they have the sister part, is including with the voices. So So after their performance, the next day Ty's supposed to be with her husband, and later on he was saying, like I said, arrangement. He said about her gift was somewhere else. He didn't give her no gift yet. So he ends up taking her to his big bowl of surprises. Wee Coco and all his, he was able to get all her friends there. I don't know if they're all from New York or other places, but it was kind of nice. And they're having fun, good times, woo, and this is great, okay. And before I forgot one more part before I get to the last part when they were at the party. And Corey, they did take Corey to go see Jeff. And, first I didn't know what Jeff Corey's size because he was kind of looking like, he was sucking on a an extra sour patch kid, so because he has the sour face. And then Jeff was saying he does want to work with him. We could just work together and stuff like that. And then, because, Corey was like, I'll take your lead because you're a pioneer. And then first Jeff said, I'm a legend, not a pioneer. Everybody was just looking in the room, or at least the ladies were like, I don't know how it's going to go. And then he was like, well, don't worry, Rob, we can always use the sword. So we kind of ended up like, and I think Corey, that they're at least on good working terms for now. So we don't know. I don't know how many episodes is in here, but for the season. But like I said, as far as the terms, they're like they're going to do it and work it out. So fast forward back again to the party. Now, when they got to the cake after all the dancing stuff around the soul chain line and everything else, Ty's like, happy birthday to me. It takes this big. I don't know why I thought she was gonna share a part of that cake with her husband, but she was about to say happy birthday to me, the big ass piece of cake, and I don't blame her. she was just like, okay, everybody's happy birthday, y'all get your own stuff, and she goes off somewhere else. So her husband comes to her and says, to come up on, other part of the boat where nobody else is at, the top part, whatever, right? And he tells her that, he wants to remind her, I proposed to you here, we got married here, stuff like that, here. And he was saying now he possibly has a job opportunity that may require them to move back here, from Nashville, Tennessee. And she's just like, huh? Whatever. And he's trying to even bring, he's like, you want a car? Kind of like, trying to bribe her. And she's already kind of like this. Their son is so used to being, he was raised down south or whatever case is. She just feels like that just was thrown on her. And on top of that, it's her birthday. You decided to throw something that possibly can change. And how she finally just started to get this thing back with the group again. And then it just seemed like all the stuff was thrown on her. So it kind of ends, like that. Like she just sitting here like, the hell? And that's how we kind of end like, the hell? And then we got the next scene. It looks like it's supposed to be juicy, whatever. But that's pretty much it end, folks. Yeah, that's about it, I think. Well, at least the highlights of the show that I can remember. Alright then, y'all. Y'all have a pleasant week, a pleasant night, and a pleasant weekend. Thank you for all the love, support. Thank you for all the old new subscribers. And like, comment, subscribe. And if it's just in case, just to let y'all know with this glitch with YouTube, sometimes you may have to resubscribe, which I've had to do that a couple folks myself. If you subscribe somebody and sometimes you just realize you unsubscribe, there's a glitch that's happening to folks still. So you might have to do that. But other than that, y'all have a pleasant week and y'all enjoy Super Bowl, whatever else it is y'all gonna do. Y'all be safe. And my last announcement is, like I said, I'm changing February 9th as far as y'all YouTube channel. And as long as they ain't negative, like, towards people and stuff like that, whatever, you know what I mean? Stuff of that nature. We'll keep bouncing. So, drop it down below and I'm about to make another YouTube, like I said, second, installment of my YouTube shout out video. So, support. And y'all definitely take care. Like I said, I thank y'all, appreciate all the love from everyone. And see y'all in the next video. Cause like I said, y'all won't be seeing me Sunday because, Bravo is pushing back, to be continue over Housewives and Bloodsport Hills until February 9th. Y'all take care.